Hi, my name is Michelle Minot. Welcome to Biz and Breakfast with Michelle. The next 45 minutes can seriously change your life. I'm going to show you how to make strong financial decisions that can impact your future and change it for the better. Hello and welcome to Biz and Breakfast with Michelle. I'm your host, Michelle Minot, and we have a great lineup of guests for you today. But before we get started, I just wanted to say happy Black History Month to those that are celebrating. You know, yesterday I had the pleasure of being invited to the PC Caucus's Black History Month celebration. And I had the honor of meeting and chatting with Premier Doug Ford. And it was just really great to celebrate the achievements of Black men and women of today and throughout history. And I think that Black history should be a year-long celebration, not just 1 month. But that being said, happy Black History Month. Okay, so let's get to our show. We have some amazing guests, as I mentioned. Our first guest is Deloshan Shanmogalingam, and he comes to us from Right at Home Realty. He's a real estate agent, and he's going to be talking to us about the changes in the real estate market that may be affecting some of you today. Our second guest is Anna Naraya Abdullah. She's 8 years old, and she has authored a book called Odd Tales and Strange Names, and she's joined by her tutor, Ludmila Cherry, also fondly known as Mia, and Mia is the founder of Miss Mia Tutoring. So without further ado, let's welcome our first guest, Deloshan. Hello, Deloshan.
Hi there. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine. How are you?
Not too bad. Thanks for having me over.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to have you. Okay, so Deloshan, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so I have a business background, and I've been in real estate for over 7 years now, doing this full time. I work with many buyers and sellers and investors, helping them acquiring properties across Toronto and the GTA. And I'm there every step of the way till they reach their real estate goal. So.
Okay, and do you do a specific type of real estate, like residential, commercial?
Mostly I focus on residential. I also work with commercial as well.
Okay.
But mostly residential.
And how long have you been doing that?
It's about 7 years now.
Okay, nice. And so tell me, what's happening in the real estate market right now? It seems like it's turned upside down.
It sure did, yeah. So currently, so now there's a downturn in the market because of, and this is due to a number of factors, but main reason, obviously, as we all know, is because of the interest rate hike by the Bank of Canada, which actually has dropped the average price home, sold price across the GTA.
Right.
And year over year, it has dropped by 16%, roughly. So it's sitting at about $1,038,000.
Okay,
This is based on January stats. So yeah, and mainly because of the interest rate hike, and obviously.
You know, I was surprised at how much they increased the interest rate. You know, last year particularly, so many hikes. But even in January, this last hike, some people thought that they were going to announce that the rates would go down. And actually, they increased the rates again.
A lot of people do think that it's going to go down, but but I was educating everybody that it is going to probably go up, and it's going to stay high for the next couple of years, realistically speaking. So we have to adjust according to that rate.
That's right.
And it's because we are dealing with a all-time high inflation rate that the Bank of Canada is attempting to lower that down by raising rates. So.
Right. And so tell us about the buying process. If I had no idea and I'm new to this market, maybe even new to Canada, how would you explain the buying process to me?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Michelle. So what you want to do first is, you want to choose a real estate agent that's right for you.
That's right.
You want to know what your budget is, and location. Have some location preferences as to where you want to buy based on your budget.
That's right.
I strongly recommend you also do a mortgage pre-approval.
Yes.
That way, you have an understanding of what your purchasing power is, and then you make an offer. You look at some properties, make an offer that's agreeable by the buyer and seller, and then you close. Closing is typically 90 days. It could be more or less. I also recommend people to budget closing cost,
Yes.
which I usually recommend about 1.5% of the purchase price.
Right.
It's a good safety net. And then lastly, don't forget to change your service address and your utilities.
Right.
And also don't forget to hire a moving company in advance, especially during the busy seasons.
That's true. It gets really busy.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And so what is the MLS system?
So the MLS system stands for Multiple Listing Services. It's basically a platform that real estate agents and brokers use to list properties for sale. They share information among other colleagues, and it's also a tool to use to find properties for prospective buyers.
Okay. And so I often hear people say it's a buying market or a selling market.
Yeah.
What market would you say it is right now?
Currently, I would say this is the buyer's market,
Okay.
just because prices have dropped significantly across all segments.
Right.
And first-time home buyers are looking to take advantage of this opportunity
Yeah.
to get into the market, and I think this is a great time to buy with the intention that you're buying it for the long term.
That's right.
And if you're able to keep it for a long term, you definitely will be winning.
Okay. And so let's say, for instance, I wanted to sell my home. Is this a good time to sell?
I mean, it depends on your situation. It depends on your circumstances. When you're selling your property in this market, you should have a discussion with your real estate agent and set realistic expectations as to what kind of offer to expect.
Right.
If you can hold on to it, and then
Yeah.
you can leverage the market when it picks up.
Right.
But if you need to move, then just set realistic expectations and,
That's right.
and move accordingly.
Okay, because definitely a seller is going to be getting less. You know what I find? I find that a lot of sellers still have in their minds last year's prices and the year before, I should
Yeah.
say. The beginning of last year and the year before. And they still want to sell their home at such high prices, and a lot of people don't want to really come to terms with what's going on.
You're right, and because sellers for the last 10 or 15 years now been a seller's market, and they were expecting all these, over asking prices,
That's right.
and they're expecting that same activity level, but
Right.
they haven't come to realization that prices have come down significantly,
right.
and it takes some time for them to adjust to the new reality.
That's
And they have to understand that this is how it's going to be for the next few years until
Right.
something happens, right? So
right. And
market picks
so
up.
what I found interesting is that the Bank of Canada, with an attempt to make housing more affordable, has raised interest rates. But raising the interest rates also makes home buying less affordable for many people.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah.
So because if you were initially looking at a $1 million budget, now because of the rate hike, your purchasing power is probably only 800,000.
That's right.
So as rates go up, your purchasing power does decline, but there's still a lot of first-time home buyers who are looking into the condo segments and
That's right.
cheaper property ownership.
Okay.
So it does impact your buying power, but if you shop around, you can find the right property for you.
Something within your price range.
For sure.
And so tell me about the condo market. Any trends happening there?
Well,
Do you see a steady decrease in pricing there as well?
Yes, there is a decline in condo market as well, as impacted due to the interest rate hike, but it's relatively not as much as a single family home. just because of the, it's a much a lower purchase price. And there's a lot of young buyers and a lot of first-time home buyers who are looking to get into the market. And despite single homes have dropped significantly in price, the condo market is still the more affordable choice for many. So,
Right. And so also there's been such a massive exodus because home prices in Toronto are so, I know that they've become a bit more affordable, but still looking at $1 million, the average home buyer is really stretched to afford that in Toronto. So there's like a mass exodus outside of Toronto. So what do you think about that, and what's driving that?
well, I think people are just searching for cheaper homes, cheaper real estate outside of the city, and with the new trend, with a lot of people have a flexibility of working from home, they necessarily don't need to be in the city.
That's true.
So they're looking outside in the outskirt, where they can, find cheaper homes and it's more affordable for them.
That's right. Okay, and so there was some recent news that I saw maybe about a year ago about for sale by owner properties. And they were suggesting that the for sale by owner properties didn't always get as much exposure or attention from real estate agents because maybe they're not offering as much commission or maybe no commission. So what is your opinion on that?
Well, for sale by owner properties, I personally haven't come across personally in recent time, but I do know that it could it may not get as much attention as working with a real estate agent.
Yeah.
Just because they don't have much exposure.
That's right.
And realtors sometimes may not want to show a for sale by owner property. It's not because of commission or anything, but it's simply because of there's no professional colleague on the other side.
Right.
Listing it with an agent, they usually will be able to negotiate a better price and terms for you, and always looking out for the best interest of their client.
That's right. I also find, because I didn't fully agree with that report, but what I find also is oftentimes for sale by owner properties are often overpriced. So I think that instead of saying, an agent doesn't want to show your property, is because agents know what a good price of a house is, and they will advise their clients accordingly. And I find that sometimes for sale by owner homes can be overpriced.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, sometimes it can be overpriced just because they don't understand the market as best as a real estate agent, and they don't have access to the comparables.
That's right. And so if someone wanted to sell their home but didn't want to pay high commission, what would you say to them?
Well, I mean, I'll definitely outline the value proposition with working with a realtor. For first, you'll be working with a professional that's always be looking out for the best interest of yourself. And they have a pool of network. Then working, trying to sell it yourself.
Right.
And also, they have a broader access to marketing. They can use the MLS system and various other platforms to get your property out there. And most importantly, they are able to negotiate on behalf of you with a good price and a favorable conditions.
Okay. And And so, what do you think? Okay, sorry. And what got you into real estate?
What got me into real estate? Well, I have a business background, and I was always been interested in the real estate market it's more analytical work. I was good with numbers, so and I have a desire to work with people and help people. I just thought I'd transition into real estate. It was something that was challenging in the beginning, but it's great that I'm able to work with many different people.
Okay.
And help them achieve their real estate goals.
That's nice. And have you worked in a team before, or no?
No, I work predominantly myself, solo. Just work with myself and my client.
And I know that some changes have taken place in the real estate market in terms of who can buy. So, for instance, at the beginning of January, they did a block on all foreign investments for I think a couple of years.
Yes, so foreign buyers have been banned for purchasing properties in Canada for 2 years now.
Okay.
For 2 years. So that should open up some doors for Canadians to purchase properties
Okay.
and not create a bidding war.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And has that affected your business at all?
No, not really. Most of my clientele is residents of Canada or
Yeah,
Toronto.
yeah.
So that has not impacted my business.
Yeah, that's what they were saying that, you know, at one point, a large percentage of my business came from foreign investors, surprisingly. And, but now I would say it's a really small percentage. So it's really interesting to see how that might impact some real estate agents out there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it impacts some real estate agents because
Yeah.
some of them do have access to working with investors from outside of the country.
That's right.
But in my own experience, it's mostly locals.
Local. The other thing that's changed recently is that they're now taxing vacant homes. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so because there is a shortage of homes, and we want to, the city wants to, have an understanding of how many properties are being actually occupied versus vacant, and I think it's a good tactic to get some data against how many properties are sitting vacant, and
Yeah.
it needs to be taxed so that it's not sitting empty, and potentially it can go on the market, and somebody who needs a property or a home could end up purchasing that, right?
That's right. That's right. I was actually shocked at one point in time, probably about 4 years ago, as I was looking through property with some clients. I was shocked when I went through Richmond Hill, Markham, at how many vacant homes there were.
Yeah, Richmond Hill, Markham, and even downtown Toronto.
Yes.
There's a lot of condo units that are
That's
vacant,
right.
and there's a lot of investors who've just parked their money in there, right?
That's
So,
exactly right. And I was shocked, like 3 years vacant, never lived in.
yeah,
It's really shocking. It was so shocking to me. I
they
didn't
never
know.
even come into Canada, right?
That's
So,
exactly right.
yeah.
So do you think it's a good thing what that they're doing?
I think so. I think they need to kind of track down, how many properties are out there that could potentially be open to the public.
Okay.
And I think it's just sitting there doing nothing. Somebody else can, occupy it.
That's right.
It's not being rented out. It's not being occupied. So I don't think it's fair to be sitting vacant when there are people are in need of a home.
Exactly. I agree with you. And so if someone is a first-time home buyer and they're wanting to buy a home, but their credit is slightly bruised, how would you suggest that they prepare for home buying?
Well, the first thing is to, do a pre-approval to see how much they can afford comfortably based on their credit score. If it's really low, then I would suggest maybe they want to wait it out and not rush into it.
Right.
Maybe wait a year or two and improve your credit score, so
right.
that way you can have a better purchasing power. And that also will give you better interest rates.
Yes.
And you don't need to go into other financing options outside of the A lenders. So
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And so the other thing is I find in some reports recently also about mortgage fraud.
yeah.
And I don't know if you've encountered anything like that, but I'm shocked that in today's day and age, when people are so so meticulous, especially the lenders are very meticulous in checking documentation. Have you ever encountered anything like that? Any sort of?
Thankfully, no.
Yeah.
I have not come across such thing. So, and I always look out for the best interest of my client,
Yeah.
and I work with professionals at the bank and different institutions to make sure that such things don't happen.
That's right.
And but obviously, there's always somebody there to trying to be clever.
That's right.
So you got to be mindful of that, and you got to be cautious.
Right.
But if you're working with professionals and you ask the right questions, there shouldn't be any issues with that.
Okay. And what is the best advice you can give to someone looking to buy or sell their home right now?
If you're looking to buy, you can definitely take advantage of the current market because of the downturn in market. Work with a professional, work with a real estate agent. Ask questions about the local market, the area that you're looking to potentially buy. Understand the budget. Do your pre-approvals. That gives you the best idea as to what your purchasing power is. And sellers need to have discussions with their agents and set realistic expectations as to what they can get, what kind of offers they can get, and again, work with professionals and have it staged professionally so that it attracts offers, and potentially you can get what you're looking for.
Okay. And I find that the real estate industry has changed so much, like so much has gone online, especially with the pandemic. There's e-signatures, there's, before we were like paper and pen, meeting everybody, sit-down meetings and live offer presentations. Now everything is faxed in, right? Do you find that that changes the dynamic in terms of like presenting offers or anything like that?
Well, it definitely streamlines the process.
Yeah.
It makes it a lot more easier for agents and for their clients. So it's easier. It's more, it's just more robust. You can send an email, quick email. You can walk them through on a Zoom call with the different conditions and what the offer has offer has. And then it's all done electronically, so it's just so much easier and it's done in no time. So
yeah, that's what I find about getting e-signatures and things like that. You can get turnaround in just minutes.
With seconds.
Before it would take hours and hours to meet with a client, and and sometimes during that process you can lose a home.
You can lose a home, and you'll be waiting for hours outside to present your offer, and especially in a multiple offer situation.
That's right.
You can be spending quite a bit of hours and quite a bit of time.
That's exactly right. That's how we used to do it.
Yeah. We used to
like sit in the car, wait for all the agents to do their offer presentation. Go take your turn. It used to take hours. Yeah. That's really true. And so talking about that, if you are in a situation where you have a multiple offer situation, it's still rarely happening in Toronto, like very key locations, but how do you get the edge in a multiple offer situation, do you think?
In a multiple offer situation, you want to see, how many offers are on the table, because you get a count of how many offers you're dealing with. And then, you have to educate your client that you may not get a second round, and go in with your best offer possible.
Right.
And depending on how comfortable the client is, you want to go in with the best offer in terms of price, least amount of conditions, and maybe the shortest closing.
That's right.
But that's all questions. Those are all discussions that you should have with your client ahead of time.
That's right.
And navigate that through.
Absolutely. Also, I think it's good to be very personable, and to let the agent and the sellers know who your client is.
Of course, yes.
That's right. Introduce them, get them comfortable.
Give them an idea of what they're trying to achieve
right.
here. So
that's right.
That definitely helps, yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so how can our audience get in touch with you, Deloshan?
Yeah, so you can reach me at 416-877-7834. It's my direct number. You can contact me with any questions, or you can also email me at deloshanS4@gmail.com. I'm sure it'll be on your screen. You can shoot me any questions, concerns, and I'm always here to help, and I'll always answer your questions.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure.
It's a pleasure, and thank you.
You're welcome. So we'll be right back after this. Don't go away.
Thinking of buying or selling your home, but not sure where to start? Hi, my name is Deloshan Shanmulingam, and I'm here to help you with all your home buying and selling inquiries. With over 7 years of experience and a passion for real estate, I can provide you with expert advice and guidance for a stress-free experience. Contact me, Deloshan Shanmulingam, at 416-877-7834. There's a home out there for everyone. Let me help you find yours.
More Mortgaging. We do real estate financing and mortgages. We do purchases, refinances, first, second, and third mortgages, home equity loans, etc.
Are you looking for the perfect home or trying to navigate today's changing market? Whether you're buying or selling, contact Michelle Minot for real estate advice you can count on. For professional and reliable service, go to finditgta.ca or call 647-739-4663.
Thinking of buying or selling your home, but not sure where to start? Hi, my name is Deloshan Shanmolingam, and I'm here to help you with all your home buying and selling inquiries. With over 7 years of experience and a passion for real estate, I can provide you with expert advice and guidance for a stress-free experience. Contact me, Deloshan Shanmolingam, at 416-877-7834. There's a home out there for everyone. Let me help you find yours.
To the show. I'm joined by two guests today, Anna Naraya Abdullah, and she's an 8-year-old author of Odd Tales and Strange Names. And she's also joined by her tutor, Ludmila Cherry, also fondly known as Mia, and she is the founder of Miss Mia Tutoring. So welcome, everybody. How are you both?
I'm fine.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Good. That's wonderful. Okay, so Anna, I'm going to ask you, tell me about yourself.
My name is Anna Catalina Nuria Abdullah,
Okay.
and I'm 8 years old.
Nice.
Some of my favorite hobbies are gardening. I love to explore and be out in nature, and I also love reading. And that is how I got into the habit of reading my Bible every day.
Oh, that's nice. And what are some of the things you like to explore?
Well, I like to explore my backyard. That is where I saw, quite a lot of animals.
Okay.
And that's where I like to explore, but I also like to explore parks. I like to go in nature parks and
That's
walk
nice.
around.
Good. And do you have siblings?
No, no
Okay.
siblings.
And I understand that you're homeschooled.
Yes.
Do you like being homeschooled?
I love being homeschooled.
Oh, that's a good answer. And so, Mia, I'm going to just bring you into the conversation. Do you find that there's been a big trend to homeschooling nowadays?
Yes, I think there is homeschooling is on the rise right now, especially because parents want to be able to have more control when it comes to what is being taught to their children.
That's
and
right.
what kind of values do they want to raise their children in. So
That's
lots
right.
of parents right now are putting in the time and desiring to homeschool their children. Another great aspect of homeschooling is you get to build that relationship with your child.
Yes.
Instead of having a child spending 8 hours outside and then
That's right.
they come at night and they're tired, everybody's tired.
That's right.
So that's another wonderful aspect of homeschooling as well.
That's right. And I have two girls. Right now, they're 19 and 21, so much older than you, Anna. But 20 years ago, when they were just, born and I was looking into homeschooling, I found it very challenging. I wanted to homeschool my children, but 20 years ago, online wasn't such a thing. And I found it difficult to find support and things like that. Do you find it's easier now?
It is easier now, but it is a challenging journey. There is
Okay.
no doubt about it. Lots of families are going through this challenge, but
Yes.
the greater outcome outweighs the challenges.
Right.
And what's happening now, there are more, with the COVID happening, the
Yes,
pandemic,
that's so true.
education online has expanded.
And become more acceptable
Become
too.
more acceptable, exactly. So lots of homeschooling families are
Yeah.
able to actually pick the tutor or the person that fits their children. So,
That's right.
Yes.
That's excellent. And so, tell me about your book. Well, first of all, tell me the name. Why did you choose that name?
Well, at the start, when I first decided to write a book, I wanted to base it on my mom and dad's Guyanese heritage.
Okay.
Guyana is a country in South America.
Yes.
And so, as if you read the book, you'll see that there are a lot of odd tales and strange names in it.
Okay.
So, I based it on my mom and dad's Guyanese heritage because of their odd tales and strange names.
Okay. And so it's my understanding that there's 4 stories in this book.
5.
Oh, 5. I've ordered the book, and
Okay.
I was just telling Anna that I've ordered the book. I still have to get it in the mail, but I'm excited to read it.
Thank you.
So tell me about the book.
So, as I just said, it has 5 stories in it.
Yes.
And some of the characters are anti-Katahar. You might know the word better, Katahar, as jackfruit. That's what they call it here in Canada, because in Guyana they would call it jackfruit Katahar. And I think the Canadians gave it a pretty weird name because it's actually a vegetable.
Oh, wow.
And they call it jackfruit, but it's actually a vegetable.
Oh, interesting. That's interesting. And so do you have a favorite character in the book?
I think my favorite character is Piggy Jiggy. It kind of says in the name, he's a pig.
And so tell me, what are the lessons that are learned from the book?
Well, some of the lessons that I learned from the book are always hear both sides of the argument or story before you make a decision.
Okay.
And you don't always have to get what you want to be content, and changes aren't bad either.
That's right. Wow, that's amazing coming from an 8-year-old. So do you think this book is only for children?
I think that anybody who wants to read it can read it. 'Cause
That's right.
That's what I wanted to make it for.
Very nice. And so tell me, Mia, the children that you tutor, are they all 8 years old? What is the age range?
I would say that most children are around 7 and 12, between 7 and 12. I do have 8 years old, lots of 8 years old actually. I'm starting with the younger children now, 5, 6, 7. So yes.
Okay. And are they all as exceptional as Anna?
Every single child that I have is exceptional. Literally,
Wow.
like I get, I am in the habit of not refusing a request to tutor because I know that there is something in that child
That's right.
that is meant to bless the world and that needs to be cultivated. And in their different ways, they shine. And it's very important, I think, even as tutors and parents and guardians, to find that thing in a child that illuminates that child.
That's right.
And sometimes parents may say, well, but he's hard or he's difficult or you just have to find the way to it's as if what is the way to communicate to that child to
Yes.
allow it to allow him or her to blossom.
That's right.
Basically, yes.
That's really nice. And so how long has Miss Mia been your tutor?
I would say for around maybe 3 months now.
Okay.
Yes.
And
Only 3 months, it feels like.
is she a hard tutor?
I think that she is very, very good with kids.
Oh, that's so cute. And so tell me, Anna, do you take some of the lessons from your book and apply it to your life?
Yes, that's what I try my best to do. But
Okay.
if you went back a few years ago, I probably wouldn't have done any of these things. But as I've grown, I've learned that these things are better than just not doing them, because this is how I would like people to treat me, and the
That's
Bible
right.
says treat others as you would have them treat you. So
That's right.
that's why I try to do these things now.
That's good. And so, what is one lesson that you take away with you and you apply to maybe other friendships?
One lesson that I think that I would apply to other people is always hear both sides of the story or
Okay.
argument before you make a decision or take sides.
Okay, that's nice. Wow. And so, you're expanding, Mia, to Quebec as well.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yes, so I felt after a while, I launched first, and so my first assignment was French. That's what I sensed very clearly that God was telling me, go into French. So I did it, and after a while, He said, now I want you to launch English. And I said, okay, well, most people know English already in Ontario, and then I as I was, praying into it and seeing where He's leading me, and then Quebec opened up, and then I started getting a lot of children from Quebec, and many of them are also being homeschooled.
Okay.
And because in Quebec is very a conservative country in terms of language, they want to preserve French, which I agree with, but they also want to be able to learn English. So lots of these homeschooling families who have so many things that they're teaching their children already, they'd like to be able to outsource this to somebody else. So I did open up to Quebec as well.
And what is your background, Mia, if you don't mind me asking?
Yes, I am Haitian, so
Okay.
I grew up.
So French is natural to
Yes,
you.
French is natural to me. I grew up in Haiti, and I came to Canada for my studies. I studied in science of communications, and I started working. Then my job back then moved me to Toronto. So,
Okay.
yes.
And then you said you just got an inspiration to open.
Yes. So
your
what happened
school.
is, I had an encounter with God here in Toronto. Back then, my mom was suffering with bone cancer, and I was suffering with depression and anxiety, and I was looking for healing. So I decided, let me see if there is a God out there
Right.
somewhere.
Wow.
And I started reading my Bible, and I ended up having a real encounter with Him, and all of my anxiety and depression left right away. And at that moment, I said, and I became joyful and happy. My life totally changed. Like, it was like I was in they call it the honeymoon phase with God.
Right.
Well, He's so sweet and so kind, and He's always kind. He's always kind, but I was tasting Him for the first time in my life. And I said at that moment, whatever you want me to do with my life, I will do it. Whatever it is that you want me out for, everything that you have done for me, I want to give it back to you.
That's right.
And right after, I kept working where I was working, and then when before COVID hit, He gave me a dream and started telling me that I will leave my job. So I was working in projects, said, you would leave your job. And I said, okay, so COVID hit, and they released the entire department, and that's when I said, what do you want me to do? And that's when He said, okay, as I was praying, He said, now I want you to start teaching children, so teaching French. So everything in the process, the name, the colors, He was in every detail and guiding me in everything. So
Wow, that's a beautiful story.
Yes.
And I know that your faith is very important to you, Anna.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, my faith is my belief in Jesus Christ.
That's right.
And how He died for me 2,000 years ago. And I also believe that you can get many gifts by just believing in Jesus with all your heart, trying to follow Him, reading your Bible, praying every day, just trying your best. You can get a lot of gifts. But the two gifts, blessings, I guess you could say, that stand out to me are that, number one, you can be born again. You can be forgiven of all your sins, because we are all sinful. Everybody
right.
on the earth has done at least several mistakes, actually.
That's exactly right.
But if you just believe in Jesus, I believe that you can be born again, and your sins can be forgiven. You can get a new start. You can get like a second chance. And the second blessing that stands out to me is you can get eternal life. Any loved one that you have lost, you can see them again, because like it says in John 3:16, be what? Let me just remember.
Yes.
For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believe in him shall not perish but have everlasting life.
Wow,
There.
that's amazing. What a blessing you are. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And so let's get into the book a little bit more, okay? So here's the book, and tell me, who illustrated the book?
So, me and my mom.
Oh, you drew the pictures?
Yeah.
That's so cute.
And this one right here, you see
Uh-huh.
this dog picture?
Okay.
This one was drawn by my 12-year-old cousin, Sarah.
Oh, that's so cute.
I have to thank her because she's a really good drawer and she helped me.
I can see that.
She's like the artist of our family.
And so did you have a lot of fun, like putting pictures to the names of your characters?
Yeah, I really had a lot of fun doing it.
Oh my gosh, I just love this. I really can't wait to read it. And so tell me, just tell me about one of the stories in the book.
Well, I'll tell you about my favorite story in the
Okay.
book, which is Auntie Katahar learned something new.
Mm-hmm.
She is the bear, right over
The
here.
bear. Oh, okay, here at the end.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Well, in her story, that is a story that teaches kids, that I wrote to teach kids how to hear both sides of the story before you make a decision.
Yes. Oh, I understand. Okay. And is this a stork?
Yes, that's a seagull.
Oh, a seagull.
Right up here is the stork.
Oh, that's the stork. Oh my gosh. Well, I am so amazed by you, honestly. And so, what does your mom, your parents think about this?
I think that they're really proud of what we could all do to help kids learn good moral lessons.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I'm glad that I could do this because if I went back 3 years ago, if any of you went back 3 years ago and told me that I would write a story and help somebody, just somebody,
Wow.
believe in Jesus, I would have probably never even believed a thing about it because I was never a good writer back then.
Right. And
But,
go ahead. Go ahead.
but now I love writing.
Wow. And you wrote this all on your own. And so what inspired you? Why did you say, I think I'm going to write a book? Or did it just come with each short story that you guys decided to put together to one?
Well, it started when I was 4.5, actually. My mom put me to write a story. And she
Okay.
just said, write anything, write a story, just write anything that comes to mind. So I did.
Right.
And my story was a story about a lost unicorn.
Wow.
And, I didn't like it at all. Even though I wrote a one-page story and I could barely do it. I don't know how is that. I wrote a one-page story and I could barely do it. But
Okay.
then, after my mom said I didn't like it, I didn't write back another story for a long time. But my mom remembered it and she
Okay.
decided that she should put me to write another story.
Wow.
So then this time, since I was a bit older when she put me to write a story again. I was around 7, but I'm 8 now, so that was like 1 year ago. And I liked it actually.
Okay.
And then I thought to myself that if I wrote a storybook, I could write a story with good morals.
That's right.
And that is how I could work in God's kingdom, because I've always been looking for a way to work in God's kingdom
Oh
and
my
be a
gosh.
building stone in God's
That's
kingdom.
right.
So this was my way. I found it finally. So
Wow.
I decided to write a story.
Well, Anna, you're a real blessing, I have to say. And I'm so happy to have you on this show. How can we get in touch with you? How can we buy your book?
You can buy my book on Amazon Canada, Amazon Canada. And if you can't buy my book, you can borrow my book at a few libraries. You can borrow my book at the Tyndanaga Public Library,
Okay.
the Deseronto Library, and the Napanee Library.
Excellent. And we
Well-
have your website up on the screen right now.
Yes.
So you can also get through to you on your website.
Yeah.
Nice. And Mia, how can we get in touch with you?
Yes, just before, I want to say too that her book is available on Amazon US because I
Okay.
have people from the US wanting to purchase it. So it's
Oh.
also available for people who are not
So
in Canada.
Amazon US, Amazon
Amazon
Canada.
Canada, yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
And okay.
And for me, go on missmiatutoring.com and you'll be able to contact me right there.
Okay, so missmiatutoring.com, and we have your website up on the screen too. So we just want to thank these wonderful ladies, Mia and Anna, for joining us today. And remember, you can get through to me through BIZ and Breakfast on social media, Instagram and YouTube. And again, happy Black History Month. Thank you for joining us, everyone.
Thinking of buying or selling your home, but not sure where to start? Hi, my name is Deloshan Shanmulingam, and I'm here to help you with all your home buying and selling inquiries. With over 7 years of experience and a passion for real estate, I can provide you with expert advice and guidance for a stress-free experience. Contact me, Deloshan Shanmulingam, at 416-877-7834. There's a home out there for everyone. Let me help you find yours.
More Mortgaging. We do real estate financing and mortgages. We do purchases, refinances, first, second, and third mortgages, home equity loans, etc.
Are you looking for the perfect home or trying to navigate today's changing market? Whether you're buying or selling, contact Michelle Minot for real estate advice you can count on. For professional and reliable service, go to finditgta.ca or call 647-739-4663.